Today we are talking about...
Hey, you should sit up straight. Fix your posture. Stop leaning forward.
I heard that a lot as a kid.
Let's get started with the Alpha and Omega Health Podcast with Doctors Rachel and Tri Myers.
You know what my dad used to do?
What's that?
I would be sitting at the breakfast bar, hunched over, eating my bananas and cream, and he would...
What was your favorite breakfast cereal back in the 90s
Man, I love
or
bananas
80s?
and cream. My mama spoiled me.
I was a Fruity Pebbles guy, I think.
Ew, getting that gross film on
Ah,
it.
it was the best.
Anyway, he would do this, and he would frog me right on my spine, probably where I have subluxations now. What's a subluxation again, Tri?
A subluxation is where you have a lack of motion within a joint. Case in point, the spine. So it's either rotated one way or shifted forward, or it's just not moving correctly. And so it's called a fixation, and it's caused either compensations above and below it to make this move more because this thing isn't moving right. We find those things, get it moving right, helps the whole system.
So to simplify, it's misalignment.
Sure.
Hey, Tri.
I like my soapboxes.
I know, you really do. I have a would you rather.
Seriously.
Would you rather look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame,
Okay. He did get some ladies, though.
or have posture like Katie Dortch? Yeah.
Of course, Katie Dortch all the way. Good
Kathy Lee posture.
Yep.
How do we get there? Let's talk about posture.
So, I mean, that's everybody that comes in. When you do your exam, we do a posture exam. Pretty sure, like you guys do too. They're always like, I don't even want to know. My posture's that bad. I know it's bad. I don't even want to know. And then we take a picture of it or show them what's going on, and then they're like, oh my God, that's terrible. That's all I can see. And I'm developing that little dowager's hump, that little knot in the back of the neck, shoulder area.
So just quick pause. Have you noticed since COVID, with all these kids being at home, like kids already were on a lot of electronics, but now that they've been home, they've been doing a lot of more computer work and stuff. Have you seen a lot more of those little humps on like even elementary school kids?
Yeah. It's pretty sad.
Yeah,
So I was
awful.
talking to an orthopedic. I don't know if he had this at his practice or if he just read a document about it. Said that, kind of side point. So whenever you have a tendon or a tissue that has a lot of stuff pulling on the bone, if it does it enough, it'll actually grow a bone spur. That's how bone spurs are formed.
That's how you get a bone spur at your heel because of plantar fasciitis.
Yep, or in the shoulder, wherever. Anyway, he said so many kids are looking down, pulling on the neck, that it actually started forming a horn on the back of their occiput, the back of their skull. And so that little knob you feel, it started growing a little point.
Shut up.
And then they had to go down there and shave it off.
That is sick.
That was weird, huh?
What else as far as besides that head going forward, and that can happen because of what exactly? What sort of things usually lend to that posture?
Sitting, school all day, carrying a backpack, carrying a
Little
purse,
turtles.
sitting at your office desk all the time, driving, couch, sitting here in this chair, nursing babies, holding babies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, our society, our culture is very flexion dominant. So we have a lot of issues that go along with that. I mean, it's kind of like a little epidemic in our line of work.
And plus, whenever when we get pain, what is a comforting position? Usually it's to go back to really the womb posture.
Yeah. So if you're sad or depressed, it's kind of like your go-to thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got the rounded shoulders as well.
Yep. So just think about if that mid-back rounds forward, the front shoulder would just collapse also. So the shoulder joint, the glenohumeral joint will kind of go forward a little bit where the humerus is setting in it, and then it will mess with the labrum. It puts a lot of tension here on that bicep tendon, pec minor. And so it'll cause a lot of issues, like impingement issues is what I typically deal with a lot in ours. So the more we can kind of get that thoracic spine to open up, get that shoulder blade to kind of set a little bit and take that tension off the front, do a bunch of band exercises that we'll show you later on. But
it takes a lot of work, especially because it's not just, hey, you come in and get your adjustment and do some exercises. You're then going back out and you're doing all the things that will cause this sort of posture. So it's really important that you keep up with the exercises we give you, or that your chiropractor gives you, so that we can kind of combat what you're doing all throughout your day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we talk to people all the time, like, the adjustment's great. I love what I do. It helps realign the body. But if you don't do things to help complement that adjustment, holding that proper alignment throughout the week or between your next visit, you just go right back to like slumped over posture. And I always tell people, because we're very rehab based here and exercise based, I was like, if you don't do the exercises in rehab like you're supposed to, you're training your body to be in this C-shaped position because you're working on it, exercising it, 40 hours a week at your job. So.
So if you're going to a chiropractor and they haven't given you exercises, I would definitely ask them for some exercises. You actually have some pretty great videos of some posture
Check out our YouTube
exercises.
video, Instagram. I mean, so that's interesting. Like, so we're kind of sitting there running through things of, mid-back issues, shoulders rolled forward, head goes forward. Last one we didn't do, the pelvis will tilt funny. So if you're wanting some different information, there's a guy called Dr. Yanda. He has great information about this. It's upper cross syndrome and lower cross syndrome is what it's called. So it's just where certain muscles are tight, the opposite muscles are weak, and it causes that terrible posture. So reason why posture is such an important thing is because it helps the joints, what they call centrate, so pretty much sit where they're supposed to. They're not kind of funky.
Center.
That makes sense. I guess that's why it is the root word of it, right? So it centrates the joint, so that means for athletes, it functions better, you have better muscle contraction, better speed, less injuries, etc. It helps with breathing, it helps with sleep, helps with brain function. I mean, it helps a laundry list of things to do. So yes, chiropractors kind of go down and work on like the subluxation aspect of it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's helping the overall structural posture. Now, we can talk about mine of like how I kind of like full body one, but the upper cervical adjustment is actually a very interesting one of how it affects the rest of the posture.
And we've talked about this before in previous podcasts, but basically, if you misalign the atlas, which is
C1, right up here.
C1, the very first bone in your neck, holds up your whole head. If you misalign that, it's like getting a kink in a chain, and basically everything below it is going to follow suit. So when we do our analysis of posture, we're not just looking at like what you guys would say, oh, I have horrible posture, I'm slouching. We're also looking at just the unconscious ways that you have changed your posture. So your head tilts to one side, it rotates to one side. These things happen when the atlas is misaligned and your body doesn't want to go into a normal position because it hurts and it's uncomfortable. But what's really awesome about the atlas orthogonal technique is you can quite honestly adjust someone's atlas and immediately take a lateral picture of their neck, and you can see the change in the curve like that.
It's pretty impressive.
Does it go completely back to normal? It just kind of depends on how severe the curve has changed, but it can change it that quickly because I think you were touching on this maybe, how it affects our central nervous system, what is the central nervous system?
So, I mean, it's your brain and your spinal cord. And then it has the nerves that go out to the rest of the body. So typically trunk, head, the peripheral nervous system is like your arms and legs. So
if you misalign the atlas, you're going to affect all the rest of the body neurologically all the way down. Putting it back in place allows everything to begin to function like it's supposed to. So very cool, very awesome adjustment, atlas orthogonal. Got to check it out. So our brain is connected to the spinal cord.
Correct.
And it goes all the way down What happens at the bottom?
So it attaches to your coccyx bone,
Okay, and so
tailbone.
if we think about all these changes in our posture, you know, we do this. I mean, I can feel like my muscles stretch. Does it also stretch our spinal cord?
100%. So it's interesting, they kind of done a lot of research that just the weight of a dime on a nervous system tissue affects the conduction of it, I don't know, something like 60, 70%. So it doesn't like pressure and it doesn't like a lot of tension on it. So this is a very simplified version, but say like your curves of your spine are this way, you would have another one, but just for my hands, I don't have another one.
Curves for the people that are listening.
There you go. If you start to straighten out one of them, and if it's a set distance, like a string, you're gonna start pulling on that.
Yep.
So then the other curve is gonna have to increase or have some type of compensation because of it. So if you got something jacked up here at the top, the bottom is gonna compensate tension-wise, so there's no tension on the nervous system because it does not like it at all.
Mind blown.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So when you go to a chiropractor, insurance companies are bad about this of like, hey, you only have a neck issue. You are only allowed to touch the neck. And it's like, well, science shows like the whole body is compensating, like it can't really affect,
The big
fix
toe
one thing.
is connected to the shoulder bone, right?
Yep. So think about it. So what are things that you can do to try to help this? So I know a lot of you guys are at work. It's okay. How is your work ergonomics? Do you actually sit all the way up, put your butt to the back of the chair? What I like to do is I like to tell people just get a towel, roll it up, just to try it out. Take that towel, put it between the shoulder blade area, and then sit back, and it causes you to sit up straight. What a lot of people want to do is to do the lumbar support. They just want to put it there, and there's really already a curve there. I just found a lot more people have success if they move it just a little bit higher up, sits up nice and tall. And then you're able to do that. So your butt's all the way back, put something between the shoulder blade area, and then move the computer screen up a little bit.
Because that's gonna help your neck posture. If you can also take your mouse and instead of having it up on your desk, if you can put it down on a pull-out tray, that's helpful. Somewhere where you can kind of rest your arms so they're just resting and your shoulders aren't being lifted up, because I always see the right shoulder blade is always elevated and rotated forward if they work on computers. So if you can stop that, that's always helpful.
I remember one of our patients, for some reason, he was just curious. He kept on having like right shoulder, and we kept on telling him like, oh, it's your mouse, it was your mouse. And he was like, I don't know, I don't believe you. So he put a setting on it to look and see distance-wise every time he moves his mouse. I think he said the first day he did it, he ran 5 miles with his mouse movement.
Wow.
So
wow. That's
pretty interesting.
Incredible. And then of course, don't do what I'm doing right now, crossing your legs. Keep your legs at 90 degrees, feet flat on the ground. That's going to be really helpful for the posture of the spine as well.
Yep.
So anything else you want to add?
So I guess the main things for this is make sure you get your body in proper alignment. Because the bad thing is you start stretching and pulling and strengthening areas that are not moving, you're just adding fitness on top of dysfunction. So go to a chiropractor, get some alignment, make sure your adjustment's okay. Once you have proper alignment, then you want to open up, like say the chest, open up the front neck, kind of get your posture a little bit better,
Start
stretching. Then you do your exercises, your chin tucks, your face pulls, anything that's going to help open you up a little bit more for strength wise. And honestly, we have some great videos, like Rachel said, online. Take a look at them, because this is something that we deal with every single person that walks in the door. The bad thing is it's starting younger than normal. So.
Yes, it really is. So until next time, you guys need to own your health and wellness, get to the chiro, and start doing what we talked about.
Cool. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.